So here's a picture of little old Dagan here with his skateboard back in, this is probably circa 1989, 1990, a beautiful time in our society, as you can tell by my fuchsia pink button-up collared shirt, my Steve Caballero skateboard. If you were to ask me when I was 11, 12 years old, what I cared about, I would say skateboarding and probably Nirvana. That was all I was, the band Nirvana, not the Enlightenment. That was all I cared about. And, the 80s and 90s was this beautiful time, right? It was this convergence of old and new coming together. We had the Walkman was coming out, hard discs, Game Boys. We had all this like interesting like analog technology, the VHS cassette. Like, you remember recording an MTV video on a VHS cassette to watch later? You know what I'm talking about. Or CDs. I mean, CDs was basically like the greatest technology in the history of humankind, until they got scratched and they're rendered useless. So this was, maybe some of you share this generational perspective. This was my world growing up, where we were having these emerging analog technologies. And if you were to ask me when I was 11, 12 years old back then, and you were to ask me, what is my future going to look like in 2023? I think there's about a 1 in a billion chance I would have even come close to predicting the things that we're experiencing today. It's almost impossible in a 30, 40 years time span to really know what is coming up in the future. And that's why if you were to fast forward to present Dagan in the 2020s and our world of what are those future technologies? Well, artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, virtual reality, TikTok. Who would have called TikTok? I mean, you would have been a billionaire if you could have predicted TikTok in 1990, right? So the future is this very complicated thing. It's a very hard to discern thing. And if you notice, I use the word futures, right? There's multiple futures. There's multiple possible futures that can and may exist as we look ahead in this next 30 to 40 year time span, which I know is crazy to imagine, but is going to be 2050, 2060, right? You imagine sometime in the future, there's going to be people talking about, well, remember 2020 and Chat GPT or an electric vehicle? Like, they're going to seem so archaic, and there's going to be worlds that are beyond what we can even think of and imagine in this next 30-year time span, excuse me.